The Conversation Motivational Hour with your host, Minister Seon Rodney. The Conversation. Thank you for watching the Conversation Motivational Hour. We love you and cannot wait to see you in person. The Conversation Motivational Hour with your host, Minister Seon Rodney. The Conversation. Thank you for watching the Conversation Motivational Hour. We love you and cannot wait to see you in person.
This program is being sponsored by Conversational Merchandise Cravings. Visit us at conversationalmerchandisecravings.com. Purchase your cups, mugs, hats, hoodies, and much more. Conversationalmerchandisecravings.com.
Good evening, good night, good day, whatever the times around the world. Share and invite, hit the share button.
And your back's against the wall, yeah. When the storms of life suppress.
Hit the share button as you crib with them Mawara, Amber Beach, Caribbean Island, Caribbean countries, South America, North America, Latin America, Central America, continent of Asia and Africa. Hit the share button near and far and farther afield.
You've been helping everyone out.
I just want to speak this morning to the issue of Makkah, Arcadia. Out of good cometh evil. Out of evil cometh good.
Who's gonna help you, yeah. Who you gonna turn to when things are going so right? I know sometimes you feel so empty inside.
Share this podcast.
Don't you ever tell me you can make it.
You pop up your sleepovers. Husband, wives, fiancé.
Now all you gotta do is just turn to
Comrade and colleagues.
Jesus Christ.
I want to speak to the Makkah Arcadia. Out of evil cometh good. I want to speak to the issue as a leader. It will be remiss of me not to address the issue. I know I am a few hours late, but I still have to do what I have to do when the time affords me to speak frontally to the issue.
After you've done all you can, just stand.
Sorry, I'm going to speak to the issue from the onset.
And your back's against the wall.
But I will build the backdrops and then come to the...
When the storms of life suppress you, you've been helping everyone out. Who's gonna help you? Yeah. God will never let you down. He will
hit the share button.
always
Your pop-ups, your sleepover, your best friend, yes, your main squeeze.
be around.
Your fiancé, your wife, your husband, your children. I want to speak frontally to the Makkah Arcadia. Out of evil cometh good this morning. It will be remiss of me for being a leader who would not address the issue, speaking to our people in the time of the dilemma, in time of the setback, in time of the atrocity. And I feel as a leader, I have to have a voice and I have to speak for the issue. I'm very much apologetic because I could not speak to it while it was from the onset and frontally, but nevertheless, I still will speak to our people in the midst of their dilemma.
God will never let you down. He will
So hit the share button.
always be around.
And as I said, I want to be apologetic that from the onset I could not have been able to speak to the issue at Makkah Arcadia. Out of evil cometh good. But this morning the time is so right for me to come and to speak to that issue as a leader. It is important. This is incumbent upon me, and I must speak to lend my voice and my support to our people of Mucka Arcadia.
After you've done all you can, and your back's against the wall, yeah. When the storms of
Hit the share button.
life suppress you, you've been helping
Good morning to my brothers and sisters in Mucka Arcadia.
everyone out. God's gonna help you, yeah. God will never let you down, no, 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 no. He will always be around.
It will be remiss of me for a leader not to make sure I stand to represent the people that I take to represent and to lead.
Yes, he will always.
I'm not here only to lead you in the good times. I have to represent everything that I said. My mantra, I have to represent. And my mantra is when you're in the gutters, I am with you. You're in the churches, I'm with you. Oh, yes, I don't only want to be with you in the penthouse. I don't want to be with you when things are going good, when things are hell. I want to be in your sad moment. I want to be in your down moment. I want to be when you are naked. And I also want to be when you're clothed. I want to be when you have. I want to be with you when you don't have. I have to make sure I lead by what I say.
Be around. After you've done all you can, just stand. And your back's against the wall.
Sorry, I could not have been from the onset.
Yeah. When the
The barrage of leadership.
storms of life suppress you, you've been helping everyone out. God's gonna help you, yeah. Who you gonna turn to?
This is what we're wearing this morning in this presentation to Mucka Arcadia. I'm wearing the hat as your spiritual activist, okay?
When things are going so right, I know sometimes
SGG, are you a spiritual
you
activist?
feel so empty inside. Don't you ever tell me
And from the onset of this program, I want to salute Pastor Nigel London.
can make it in this life. Now all you gotta do is just turn to Jesus Christ. After you've done all you can, and your back's against the wall, yeah. When
Yes, so before I address this issue and the dilemma that is going on in Mucka Arcadia, and I want to take from the standpoint and from this place of authority, from the podcast representing the tribe, the community, and the village of this august body called the Conversation platform, which I was endowed and anointed to be the leader, wearing various hats. And I just want to ask humbly and simply for putting aside the hats of a chaplain, of a pastor, of a minister, and as an entrepreneur and as a life coach. But I want to ask you humbly to give me the hat of a spiritual activist this morning. Also, I want to ask for your kindly release. Caribbean islands, Caribbean countries, South America, North America, continent of Asia, and Africa will ask you your release this morning to speak only to the Guyana and the people of the great soil of Guyana and the country of Guyana and the part of Guyana which is demarcated to be called Mucka Arcadia. I want to speak to them in the time of the dilemma, in the time of the atrocities, in the times, you see, so I will at this moment build from the preambles of this discussion to shout out, or you may say, why did I shout out Apostle Nigel London? I shout out Apostle Nigel London from the part of a spiritual activist. I believe in representation. There must be a voice in every sphere of involvement. What does that mean? Wherever you involve your presence, your treasure, your talent deserves representation. And I recognize in the onset of what's going on in Mucka Arcadia, I don't want to endow myself in my bouginess to say a man of the cloth I will be. But I expect to see of these people a more spiritual representation standing in the time of these people. The word of God said to mourn with those who mourn, to comfort those that mourn, to rejoice with those that rejoice. I want to let you know that you need leadership in every sphere of your influence. Looking at the situation that occur with these residents in Mocha Arcadia who reside on what we called and know and authentically is our ancestral land. Our ancestral land in Mocha Arcadia. Many of you will want to say why you call it ancestors' land. None of us were born in Africa. We are descendants of slaves who came from Africa. I want to make sure I make it clear. We are descendants of slaves who came from Africa. I may not have time to go through the Bible in my presentation because I prepare Genesis chapter 12, I think from verse 8 to 10. I will not get the time to read because I just want you to, in your spare time, to read Genesis chapter 12, verse 8 to 10. Nevertheless, we are descendants of our fourth parents that came from Africa. They came from Africa and they were demarcated in different parts of Guyana. After slavery was fought and abolished and won for, and they have earning power, they had the ability to earn money and they developed what we call a saving ability. The slaves, they come together with their thriftiness, have what we call wheelbarrow. Wheelbarrow, which was once used in the slave work of slavery, for when they were whipped beyond their will, they were lacerated beyond their will, using the same wheelbarrow to doing works on the plantation. After freedom, the said tool that was used for them, blood, sweat, and tears, they use as a collective container where coins were thrown into the wheelbarrow. Now they have saving abilities, and the plantation which they were whipped and lacerated beyond will, the blood and sweat ran into the ground like a mighty stream. They went and they purchased these villages. The village that I want to itemize in this dilemma this morning is Mocha Arcadia, one demarcated by the slaves. They purchased with the coins that were saved by wheelbarrows. They were not modernized equipment and machinery, high-mark excavator and so on. They shoveled, digged trenches, made dams, and so forth for established living until it become modernized with the machinery and so forth and such like. So it's an ancestral land that was bought and purchased. I was nowhere in the making in time. I was a part of time, but I wasn't in time. But because of my ability to read, to analyze, to internalize, and in the opportune time, which is now, to verbalize and to actualize what I read over the number of years. While those lands were purchased, my parents wasn't even in time, but they were a part of time, and they came into the fullness of time, and I came into the fullness of time. I'm the 70s baby, but does not negate the fact that these lands were purchased by the slaves. So I am an African by inheritance, but not an African by birth. I born in Guyana. I'm a Guyanese with trickle-down ancestries from Africa who came and settled in various demarcated places we call villages in Guyana. Mocha Arcadia deemed to be one of those demarcated places that was bought by African slaves. Let's establish that. Substantiated fact. Now it's being trickled down in what we call generational wealth. Words are coined as we matriculate, as we evolve trendingly in years, and Old English and New English words are matriculating. We call word smithing and word coining. So I'm using the word demarcation, but back then it was a different word in terms of marking out what belongs to the slaves and pass on to generation. Back then the word was used inheritance. Today I am putting it into our modern nest to call it generational wealth. What we has experienced in a few days ago, the said generational wealth in Mocha Arcadia was being taken away by the forces of the state. I understand I'm not against development. Infrastructural development is the hallmark for me, because infrastructural development attracts tourism. It builds the coffers of the state. It also makes life for immigration, meaning the people who want to immigrate back, less migration. So I am very much in hands and in sync with structural development. I have a happy dance and happy feet for structural development. I'm on 10 in supporting structural development. But I also want to understand that human development trumps structural development. I will not have a happy dance and great feet when there's no human development and we try to enhance structural development. So as I stay long on the preambles of the ancestral lands, which was demarcated by the ancestors, bought and paid for pennies and coins from a wheelbarrow, not from a bank, not from a pie, not from a porcelain cup, but from wheelbarrows. There were joy, but there were tears coming down the zygomatic bones for the first accomplishment. I remember when I owned my first home in the United States of America. It was one of the happiest moments at closing when the realtor said, SGDR, this is the key to your home. I was so happy. I don't know to explain that feeling. When I drove up for the first time and I recognized I'm going to the driveway of what I will call my own, because I came to America with a dream. I came to America with a vision, not being an American by birth. At that time I purchased my home, I wasn't even a citizen. But it was a great feeling. So when the generational When the generational wealth passed down to these people of Mocha Arcadia, I can imagine how happy they are to pass on the generational plateau of land, the generational of ancestry following the name. Whether you are a Jones, whether you are a Smith, whether you are a Welcome, whether you are a Rodney, whether you are whatever you are, it's a demarcation of an happiness and an entitlement and a story that is of a rich nature. So infrastructure has been demarcated to be a part now from the state in what we call a road. I'm going to drop the professional words now, and I'm going to come to the layman terms. I'm going to come that everyone can understand. I want to meet you at the point of your understanding. So the state want to have an infrastructure running through the ancestral land in terms of a road, which is structural development. First of all, I had the privilege of working for the state of New York. I had the privilege of work for a company named Rue Associate, where I was one of the ground sampling technician. What does that mean? As I work for Rue Associate, we goes to the police in prison, we goes to the Central Park, we goes to the fire service, and we go and do groundwater sampling where we do the monitoring wells. We monitor for the level of spill exposure in New York City. What does that mean? Because we have this oil remediation tanks that are there for years with the oil reserve in case there's a war against the United States. We know that we have adequate amount of oil reserve. So because of the number of years some of these tanks are there, they're leakage, and we want to know the level of contamination that is spreading to people's homes, and those are living in basements and so forth. So I was a part of the working for the state as an environmental technician. When we recognize that there's a contamination, we know well we have to have some ORC socks that will absorb the oil, and we monitor that well. So it becomes now a monitoring well. Okay, then we do soil testing. Then we do air testing. What do? We make sure we contact the resident. Then after contacting the resident, we make sure we do a demarcation that would not cause any kind of grouse for us to insert a monitoring well. What am I saying? For the road to go through Mocha, first of all, you demarcate the width of the road, including the drain on both sides, either right or left side, that for drainage of the road. So if the road is 10 feet in, whatever feet in width, I'm not really an architectural guy, but if it is 10 feet in width and including the drains, what you do, you make sure you have pins, colorful pins, and you start doing the demarcation. So you don't have to go to make sure you have confrontation with the citizens. I want to make sure I break it down to you to the lowest common factor, the lowest LCF. Lowest common factor. So after you engineered and you use your architectural work according to your blueprint for the road, you start putting your pins. So you're marking your pins, you're marking your drains, and you're coming through. Then you understand that 2 or 3 houses probably may be in the way of the road. Now you ask them that they will have to move because you're showing them from the blueprint, you're showing them the probably they may be in the drain or they be in the center of the demarcated road. You come to an agreement and a consensus for the moving of the road. I'm not here to make friends this morning. I'm not going to match on toes, but I just want to be the leader that God has called me to be. I want to be the humanitarian as the humanitarian I am be. I'm called to be, and I'm doing, and I will just do my job without fear or favor or ill will. But nevertheless, I want to understand now that they will do their marking. Okay, so there'll be 2 or 3 houses where the road now you see from the blueprint, you see they already put in the pins or cones or whatever they use for the marking. In America here, we use flags. You know, you see some yellow flags and whenever Conedison is coming, or whether Georgia Power is coming through, or Georgia Natural Gas Grid is coming through, they mark where they have, and if something is in the way, they will ask you kindly if a pipe need to move, a pipe don't need to move. If you have a storage shed need to move, they will tell you need to move the storage shed, because look, this is where it's going through, because this is our protracted area of work. If you may have to, they have to go through your driveway. They will tell you, well, look, you cannot use your driveway for a month or for weeks. We're gonna use or whatever, and then they're gonna work out in terms of you will pay to bring back your driveway in unison, or we're gonna pay to bring your driveway back in one. But there is a consensus in terms of understanding and practicality in common sense prevailing. Mocha Arcadia was not extended that true olive branch in terms of understanding where this road was about to run, showing to all residents. Ancestral land. Land is wealth. And we're talking now of mental and generational wealth. So this in the disguise of the road going through Mocha Arcadia, they decide to demolish the state, everybody's home. I have never seen a road so huge. I have never seen a road so gigantic. I have never seen a road so broad. I've never seen a road so, I don't know what to call that. That is probably 16 highway lane road. But it wasn't that the road is not going through where all these homes were demolished. The road is far away from most of the residents. There were no pins that shows you. There were no marking that shows you exactly. They didn't give you a pictogram so you can understand whether you are in the trueness of the road. We're living in 2023 with intellectual capacity. We're living in the time of infrastructural understanding, and we're living in the time of professionalism. So it's a call for us in 2023 not to be deemed as a third world, but progressing to a front world attitude, mindset, doings, and understanding, frontally understanding of oil revenue and an oil nation that is growing in our natural resources fund. So there were no demarcated shows to the people, markings number one. There were no signs of showing you now that the road is coming in what direction and it is fully marked for construction. But you decide to demolish everybody's house in that village of ancestral land, of ancestry, of rich history of Mocha Arcadia in the disguise of the road. Second point, the state police force is to be used to protect the citizens. The state has used the police to make sure that not protecting the citizens, but protecting the demolishing of someone's home, residence home that is nowhere in the part of the road. It's appalling. It's nerve-wracking, heart-wrenching. I didn't grow with a gold spoon. I know is it to have or is it not to have. I know is it to grow less fortunate. But to come and to see your hard-earned work, to see where backs were lacerated, blood was flowing like a mighty stream, been taken away from you by bullyism. And I'm saying without fear of successful contradiction today. As I said, I'd never see a road so wide. I never see a road so broad. I never seen a road so gigantic that all those acreage, to me, I want to think I am dumb, I'm daft. I want to think I'm stupid. I want to think I don't know what I'm illiterate. To understand all those houses need to remove for a road to be constructed. As I'm not a casual thinker. I'm a critical thinker, and forgive me for the way I think. Because I live in a place where I was challenged to think critically. And a mind that is stretched cannot return. So being in the diaspora, I have a stretched mind. So being stretched in my thinking, I want to make it lucidly clear. I cannot think of someone who is in Guyana where these atrocities are meted out. And the inhumaneness that I have seen. Why did I salute Apostle Nigel London? In the midst of it all, there were great political representation for these residents of these ancestral lands, these residents of these atrocities. There were great political representation. But I'm asking also, from my lexicon, investigating in my spirit, does these people belong to a congregation? Do these people belong to a church? I cannot use the Mandela and the mass frontally. And I know the reason why, because it's ancestral land, I said in the preambles. Where were the spiritual leaders to stand in the time of the mourning and the grinching and the hurting of these residents? It takes a spiritual leader, activist outside of Mucka Arcadia to lend his voice on behalf of the residents of Mucka. I have a problem with it, and a serious one. Many of my friends will be upset with me, but I have a problem. When we take the oath of our spiritual office to mourn with those who mourn, to rejoice with those who rejoice. I'm not talking about a Zachariah representation coming to Jesus by night, but seeing you representing the people that stood to represent you. Once again, I shout out and I salute Apostle Nigel London. I want to put something that truly happened a few weeks ago into perspective as I jaywalked from Mucka Arcadia to Atlanta, Georgia. A week ago, my phone blew up like over about 20 times. I had 20 calls from different pastors and leaders. Called me and says, so the church is growing hemp now because a known iconic pastor says he's going to plant hemp. And everyone is calling me for my input and for my suggestion and for my thinking and taking and takeaway of it. They were happy to lambaste the idea of the pastor from the renowned church and an iconic pastor who made a suggestion of planting him. One person called me and said, well, he didn't say he's planting corn. You're entitled to your opinion. But when they had the Ahmad Arbi case, the same pastor that they're lambasting who suggested to plant him rile up 300 pastors to go and to pray and to console that family of the atrocity of their son. I'm saying sometimes we're happy to put people on blast when it is affecting when it affect the leader suggestion, but when you need your leaders. Sometimes we worry about the wrong thing. And I'm saying we'll fear of successful contradiction. We are the leaders now that don't want to plant hemp, but we are the leaders that will run and rally rest like-minded leaders to come and pray and to support and to make sure that the atrocities and those who have meted out the atrocities seeing you as a leader with your people. I'm saying this to say, out of good cometh evil. Mocha Arcadia, SGGR is standing with you. Seon Gregory Gomes Rodney is standing with the residents of Mocha Arcadia. Out of that evil atrocity cometh good, where we gonna bind and combine, and we gonna magnate our power and our energy together, and we gonna rally as leaders together. I want to let you know you have a spiritual activism, one who's gonna pray, one who's gonna stand, one who's gonna fast, and one who's gonna speak on your behalf. Come what may, we gonna rise up mighty people and accomplish whatever we may. I'm not gonna be coming by night and Nicodemus night to come by night to console you. I don't want the powers that be that demolish you to see I'm standing with you. The devil is a liar. I want to let you know I am in the gutters. I am in the trenches with you. My voice is in the gutter. My voice is in the churches, while my voice is also in the penthouse. I want to let you know it's wicked, it's evil, it's demonic. I want to let you know I am in the mourner's bench also with you for that woman I see where the police put his knee in her back. I stand with all the political leaders, those of the coalition. I stand with our leader and very other leaders. I'm standing with the councilmen and the councilwomen. I'm standing with the chairman and the chairwoman, the members of parliament. I'm standing with the attorneys, who stand against this atrocity. And I'm standing with spiritual activists. Apostle Nigel Landa. We don't have to agree on spiritual dogmas. We don't have to agree on spiritual principles. We don't have to agree on the spirituals. But we have to agree because our voices is standing for humanity. We are agreeing on humanitarian work as spiritual leaders. You are my brother, you are my pal, and we're gonna stand. And I want to establish this. We don't have to agree on spiritual dogmas, on spiritual principles. We don't have to agree on religionistical standpoints and overviews and overlappings and underpinnings, but they need to see spiritual activists that are standing with the people. God sent a spiritual representation to Pharaoh. He didn't send only the doctors and the lawyers. He sent a spiritual representation with Pharaoh's successful contradiction. Pharaoh, let my people go. Where are the Moses who want to stand today and stand in the face and say, let my people go? Take your knees off my people's neck. It's not only talking, but come by here. showing the come by him moment. God used a spiritual activist who wasn't in all the fluency of his speech. He had an impediment. He stuttered. He had a listed tongue and common words. He stammered, and God sent him because he's a spiritual activist. Represent the spiritual genre. Represent the spiritual fraternity. He's in a man of the cloth, a man of the clergy. He said, he said, Moses, you are going to Pharaoh. We are the spiritual activists that stand for the people in Makkah, Arcadia, in the bright daylight. Oh my God, in front of the police, in front of the government, and say, take your knees off my people's neck. I'm not talking about calling from the confines of your home. The people comes while you are in the pulpit. A time must come where leadership will be tested. A time must come where leadership will be challenged, and the time is now. As I said, in clarification, myself and Apostle London don't have to be agreeing on the same spiritual dogma. We don't have to agree in the religionistical principles. But we are spiritual representation. We are those of the representing the people of the congregation. He is from Linden. I am from Atlanta, Georgia. We are the pastors, the bishop, and the members, and those of the cloth that have to stand with these people of the political representation. Where are they? I'm perturbed. I'm upset. And also appalled. Because ancestral land is generational wealth. And if I want to lead, I have to lead and bleed. One pastor called me after I established that first point many years ago and said, SGG, I do not agree with leading and bleeding. I will not bleed. So therefore you do not bleed. Why you want to lead? It's not always favorable. Leadership is not a sexy thing. Everybody ought to agree with you as a leader. Everybody will not massage your back as a leader. As a leader, will always be soft coffee and bagels. How people call me, I will not lead and bleed. You try that. But I understood from my mentor gone to be with the Lord that said you have to lead and bleed. And he take me into his hands and his wings. And he showed me some of his bleeding mechanism. And I never knew that this what this man was going through. And held on to the hem of his leadership with a smile. Held on to the hem of his leadership with tenacity. Held on to the hem of his leadership with resilience. Never knew this man was hemorrhaging. But that's a leader. Leaders must be seen. Leaders must be heard. And leaders must be known. And I'm hitting the church because I don't want to miss the church. I'm not preachify hungry. So I don't need pulpits. But I call it how it is. Where are they? These are your congregants. These are your godson and goddaughters. Quick to call me. The church is planting hemp. But the same man you want last debate or hemping, the same man went and put his life on the line to represent humanity. You cannot see that that's a leader. I would gladly hold a shovel to dig some hemp to insert into the ground, because I know tomorrow if an atrocity come to me, he will stand, oh yes, and call his fellow like-minded to represent me, not by 12 o'clock at night, but 12 in the midday. You see, we need to understand there are time you need me, and there's a time I need you. That's why we all need each other. That's why I will not take a judge or a jury. I do not beat down and pull down people. I am here to make sure I'm not a demolition crew. I'm a construction crew. But sometimes I have to come hard and tough to make sure I beat you and whip you into the position that you should understand that you need to stand to represent. Your representation is needed. Where are the spiritual leaders? Where are the spiritual leaders? We have leaders that are 50 years old who have more understanding of that plateau, of that acreage, of ancestry. We are the leaders in the 60s. Nobody calling you to take up arms, bows, or nobody calling you to take up guns. Nobody calling you to take up grenade. Nobody calling you to do none of the sort. We are calling for your bodies just to stand. I'm standing with my congregation. Oh yes, I'm crying. I'm rubbing the back. Oh yes, of my congregant daughter. I'm rubbing the back of my congregant son. Who come home don't have a place to sleep, who don't know what the next meal to do, but they go always remember my pastor stood with me, my apostle stood with me, my bishop stood with me. They will always remember that. But you want when they grow up to come for them, give them a title and to want to whip them into Christianity and whip them. It will not happen. They will remember that their politician came and stand with them. That's why sometimes evangelism become hard. They always will remember in their CSI revisiting that dream, revisiting the atrocity, revisiting. They're going to remember their parliamentarians stood with them. They're going to remember their opposition leaders stood with them. They're going to remember that their neighbors stood with them, but they didn't see their pastor, deacon, deaconess stood with them. We have to do better. And I'm serious. I'm appalled. I'm upset and I'm perturbed by what I saw. And I didn't see a pastor, an apostle, a bishop. And I'm going to understand if these people were in the wrong. But these people are in the right. I make sure I do my fact finding, my fact searches and everything. I make sure I understand before I come. I'm on national television. I am on different social media. So I got to make sure I come with facts and truth. So these people are on the right, and many of you know. And to look these people down the retina of their eyes and preach them a gospel when you cannot stand to give them a pill, a gospel, when they need that pill to drink and to swallow, but you preach them with a gospel. How? That's why God used a man with speech impediment. And sometimes you wonder why God cannot use us. God cannot use you for selling your brother, to selling your sister, to be in isolation. God will not use you. Your trinkets will go. Your 30 pieces of silver cannot be used. Oh my God, your bargaining tools on the backs of the people will not give you the enhancement that you need. As I said, I'm not preaching hungry. I'm not pulpit hungry neither. I have 9 sphere of leadership. Thank God I never turned on any leadership that they endowed upon me. So I don't really need anybody to make me a leader. I'm already a leader in different organizations. I don't need anyone pulpit. I turn my phone on in my car. We need to understand leadership is beyond what we think leadership is. We evaluate our leadership. I'm talking to pastors and bishops and apostles. Do not lead the people that they must come to you. You must go also to them. when there's mayhem, when there's atrocity out to your congregation, you must first be seen. You must first be there. Then politicians and the lawyers and the judges can come. They must come after you. Let your congregants feel your warmth of your love. Let them feel the warmth of your embrace. Not only in church, you smile on one side of your job and collect the money on the left side. Building fun and appreciation and past appreciation and past the board day. Those things are family concern of this month is irrelevant for Mocha. Because when the people need a gospel, you wait to give them a gospel. The last thing and the first thing they will always remember, who hugged them? And that's a parliamentarian. Who hugged them? That's a politician. Who hugged them? That's an attorney. Where are you? Jesus said, I must go to Samaria. Any pastor went to the woman at the well. Jesus went to the woman at the well. You know why they want to go to the woman at the well? Some of them went to the woman at night. They don't want to be seen with her in the daytime. But Jesus said, I want to be seen with this woman in the daytime. This is my soul. This is my value. This is my treasure. I want to be seen. I want to be known. I want to be heard by this same woman who they call a prostitute. Some of us want to see when they come to the door. Sister, I hear what happened to you. I'm sorry that you lost your home. Sister, I hear, brother, I hear what happened to you. Why people can't see that you come and stand? Not here. People want to see you. They want to feel you. And Jesus made sure they see me with this prostitute. They see me with this prostitute. I was at the well with this woman. Where are you in Mocha, your pastor? Take off your tie, roll up your long sleeve shirt, put on your long boots. Where were you? Presenting a good vision for 2023, the next board meeting, and your board member just lost their home to atrocity? God forbid. And the only pastor seen and heard is from Linden. I salute you, sir. Apostle Nigel London. I salute you. I speak truth to power. I didn't ask to be named a Rodney. I didn't ask to become a Rodney. But I'm happy to born a Rodney and to be named a Rodney. We don't mix matters. As poor as I was born, as poor as I grew up, I always have a voice. Where are you? Which child did you hug? Did you tell the police on that day that let my member get or church dressed out of our home? Where were you? Did you tell the police let my Sunday school student grab our lunch kit out of our home? Where were you, pastor? Where were you? My God. But I saw a parliamentarian, and you're going to stand in front of church and say politics is a dirty game, but it's the dirty politician have to represent your clean members. Man, I don't know. The greatest thing I've ever done is to become a chaplain. Different perspective than a pastor. Because I'm a gift to the state. I represent Muslim, Hindu, and everyone else. Because I stand, everyone can commit suicide. Everyone is in domestic violence. My outlook to things is totally different. I'm a property of the state spiritually. Where were you? Washing your car? Drawing your last snore? Watching what's going on through your television or your phone? Many in the last days will depart from the faith. Many will depart from the faith and given in to doctrine of devils and into seducing spirits. I want to close on this note. Many in the last days will turn away from the faith of representing authenticness of the people. Judas was with Christ and he turned away from the faith, giving to doctrines of devils. You're giving into doctrine of money, doctrine of fame, inside of doctrine of representation, and Judas did to the doctrine of money. In the last days, many is going to turn away from the faith. Many are taking the 30 pieces of silver and the 30 pieces of gold. I want to let you know, while you're living, it's time for a turning around. Stand to represent the people who look to you for representation. Pastors, the next atrocity. Deacons, the next atrocity. Bishop, the next atrocity. Once it's in keeping with authenticity and the truth of representation, you need to be there. Let the memories of my pastor presentation was with me. Let the memories of my apostle was with me in the time of my devastation. Let the memories of my board with me in time of my atrocity. Mocha Arcadia, SGGR is standing with you. Out of evil cometh good. We have a great barrage of black representation. Yes, I said it, of Negro representation, of authentic representation, of our ancestral lineage representation that is standing with you, Maka Arcadia. You are not alone. This just happened for us to be more strengthened, for us to be more fortified, and we are strong as the weakest link. Oh yes, we're going to magnate our power, magnate our voice in our different representation. And Maka Arcadia, we are called stronger than before. You are no longer standing by yourself. You're standing with people all over the world, all over in the diaspora, and you have all over people are standing with you. We are now aware the strength that you need, and we're going to represent you, whether in sharing your atrocity, whether in voicing of your atrocity, whether in donating to your atrocity. We're going to come, and we're going to come together, and we're going to find that one voice, and we're going to represent you that you so represented. Oh yes, whether it be pro bono, whether it be finance, whether it be someone can call someone to take you in their home. Oh yes, someone to give you a meal. Oh yes, someone to put the clothes on your back. Oh yes, someone to make sure that we call our congressman, we call our councilman, the House of Representative. Oh yes, we call our speaker. We're gonna make sure every one of us now, we are strengthening the UK, we are strengthening Canada, and we are fortifying the United States of America and around the world. I want to let you know, Maka Arcadia, out of evil cometh good. You no longer standing alone. And I want to tell you, even in the sadness of my heart and in all that I see, not in keeping, oh yes, with my belief that the clergy and the members of man and woman we call up the cloud did not stand with you to make sure that they build memories. That moment that they're waiting for probably will not come again. Because you have representation, there will never be another moment of atrocity. I want to let you know, thanks to all the politicians who stand to make sure that they maximize that moment and to build memories with you. I want to shout out Apostle Nigel London. I want to shout out the Shadow Attorney General Royce Day Ford. I want to shout out our leader, Comrade Aubrey Nerton, and many of the parliamentarians, Coretta McDonald's, Amanza Walton Desire. I want to shout out Natasha Lewis. So Natasha make me cry when I saw she held on to that school child. I have kids. I'm a father, and I have girl kids, and I see she held on to that girl. Oh my God, into our arms. Oh, being a different ethnicity, being a different religion. Come on, don't have a mosque really. They have churches in there. Oh my God, and she being an East Indian ethnicity. She's not from Mocha. Oh my God, and she is a Muslim, but she held on to that daughter. Oh my God. I tell you, that was a comforting moment for me. Shout out to you, Natasha Lewis. Oh, glory to God. And many more parliamentarians that was there. Randy and Sharad. I see Dr. Hines was also there. Kadaki and Stadab. And many more. And for those over here, we were in sync, networking, calling each other, texting each other, seeing what we can do here. I want to thank to the North American region. I want to thank to our leader, Comrade Aaron Lewis, that pulled us together and everything else. I want to say that we are stronger ever than before. I want to let you know, atrocity one way is atrocity everywhere. Today may be for you, but tomorrow can be for me. I want to tell you, everyone has a turn. That's why the word of God says a time to mourn and a time to rejoice. You may be mourning while I am rejoicing, and a time when you are rejoicing, I will be mourning. There's a different time and a season for every one of us. And I want to let you know, from the heartbeat and the pulse of SGGR, without fear of successful contradiction, Maka Arcadia, out of evil surely will come good. How do I know that? From the standpoint of the word of God, weeping may endure for a night, but joy certainly comes in the morning. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy came in the morning. It's not always going to be like this. Sooner or later, it's turning my favor. It's turning around for me. I have many weary days. I had many teary days, but it's turning around for me. I know where I came from. I know the mark and the scars upon my mind and my spirit. I know the mark and the scars that I wear as a badge of honor. And I know in my moments who had created memories in my life. I know in my moments, again, I know in my moments who has created memories in my life. It's not always gonna be like this. I want to let you know, have a great and productive day. The best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. And I want you to listen to the words of this song of our daughters of the soil of Guyana, Cheryl Maloney. God will never, never, never let you down. He didn't let down Esther. He didn't let down the children of Israel. He didn't let down Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He didn't let down Daniel. He was not going to let you down. He didn't let down your SGGR. He would never let you down.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, God will never, never let you down.
Let this be a consoling song from SGGR.
Promise to always, always be.
On behalf of the tribe, the community, and the village of the August body called The Conversation, we're doing it in this song to the Maka Arcadia. In the moment is Cheryl Maloney.
Around. He will plant your precious seed
I'm a leader, must be heard, must be seen, and must be known.
on solid ground. You take that rugged life of yours and
Blessing Pastor Sataram Puran.
turn it
I
around.
know you're preparing for your 28 days of fasting and praying. I pray that God bless you and favor.
After you've done all you can,
I think I say you got the book of Joel.
and your back's against the wall, yeah. When the storms of life suppress you, you've been helping everyone out. Who's gonna help you, yeah? Who you gonna turn to when things are going so right? I know sometimes you feel so empty inside.
Maka Arcadia, we know how you're feeling.
Don't you ever tell me you can make it in this life. Now all you gotta do is just turn
My brothers and sisters of Maka Arcadia, I know you're feeling.
to Jesus Christ. After you've done all you can, just stand. And your back's against the wall, yeah. When the storms of life suppress you, you've been
That's why I love the Bible so bad. He said, do not fear those who will destroy your body, but fear those who destroy your body and your soul. I fear no man.
Who's gonna help you? Yeah. God will never let you down. He will always be around. God will never let you down. He will always be around. After you've done all you can, and your back's against the wall, yeah. When the storms of life suppress you, you've been helping everyone. Now God's gonna help you, yeah. God will never let you down. No, 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 no.
Every son, every daughter, every mother, every father, every grandmother, every great-grandmother, every great-grandfather, grandfather of Maka Arcadia, God will never let you down.
Always be around. He will always be around.
You have heard your cry, you've seen your tears, He has come down to deliver.
Yes, He will. He will always be around. After you've done all you can, just stand. And your back's against the wall, yeah. When the storms of life suppress you, you've been helping everyone. Now God's gonna help you, yeah. Who you gonna turn to when things are going so right? I know sometimes you feel so empty inside. Don't you ever tell me you can make it in this life. Now all you gotta do is just turn to Jesus Christ. After you've done all you can.
Yes, He said, never leave you, nor forsake you, bring you into the end.
And
The arm of flesh will fail,
your
God will never, never fail you.
back's against the wall, yeah.
Man will give you the element of surprise, but God will not.
When the storms of life suppress you,
They love you today, but they hate you tomorrow.
you've been helping everyone. Now God's gonna help you, yeah. God will never let you down. He will never let you down. He will always be around. He'll always be around. God will never let you down. No, 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 no. He will always be around. He'll always be around. God will never let you down. No, no, no. He will, oh yeah. He'll always be there for you. All you gotta do is love.
Yes, I just want you to remember that God will never let you down. God has not done you anything. God has not done you anything. That is one for my posting tonight at 11 o'clock. I replaced the conversation, pull up and shout out where the conversation may change your life. And that will be my posting tonight. God has not done you anything. I just want to reiterate that to you also, that God has not done you anything. Is the arm of flesh failed you? Is man with the lust of the flesh, the pride of life has failed you? Man you have put your confidence in has failed you. Man you have made your confidant has failed you. God has not done anything to you. I just want to make that lucidly clear, that God has not done anything to you. In His sovereignty, God has not done anything to you. God is standing by waiting for potent vessel, potent voice. He's waiting for potent representation, because you have to work through a vessel. You have to work through people. And God is waiting for the people to say, I will stand, I will go. So God has not done you anything. Do not recuse yourself from praying to God. Do not recuse yourself from reading His word. Do not recuse yourself from fellowship with God. I didn't say church. God has not done you anything. So don't be vexed with God that no pastor, no bishop, no apostle came, and therefore you ain't going back to church and serving God anymore. God has not done anything to you. Again, Do not blame God for a lack of your spiritual representation. I want to make that clear. God worked through vessels that are submissive and submit to him and are willing. God said even in heaven, he did not strong harm Jesus. If you read the word of God, God said, who is going to go? And Jesus said, Father, prepare me a body. So people have to say, Father, prepare me a body. I'm going to Mocha Arcadia as a bishop. I'm going to Mocha Arcadia as an apostle. I'm going to Mocha Arcadia as the pastor of these people. And God, I am going, prepare me a body, protect me from police brutality, protect me from racism, protect me from injustice. I'm going as the leader you call me to be, to lead the people. I didn't tell you nothing without the word to substantiate my fact and my argument. I didn't lambaste anybody from a thin air. I prove you from the word of God. Moses didn't say, God, I'm not going. God didn't strong on Moses. All Moses said, God, I have a speech impediment. And God said, you know what? When you go, I'm gonna fill him out with the words. Just say, I am sent you, and the rest is gonna take care of. He didn't say he's not going. He didn't rebel. He just repeat to God what people say to him about him. So I want you to understand that God has not done anything to you when you need him hypothetically the most. He was right there to help you, but the people that he should work through refuse to say, God, I am the body, sent me, or God, I am the body, I am here. That is basically what happened. Do not slacken your writing with God. Do not slacken your prayer life with God. Do not slacken your Bible reading life with God, saying that God didn't help you. Where was God? God was right there. He sees, he hears, and he knows. But he have to have a body to work through. Like the devil have to have a body, the Spirit of God need to have a body. Spirits don't operate outside of a body. Spirit operate inside of a body. Substantiate the argument that why the Spirit from the man with the legions of demons enter into the swine, the pig, the khinzir, and they went over the cliff and died. Spirits have to have a body. It's not people that are bad, but it's the spirit infiltrate their lexicon, control their mind, and they are under demonic terrain and control. And the people of justice and humanity is controlled by the Spirit of God, which is love. So love is what was absent from your leader for humanity. Simple. As God said, anyone that loveth is of me. Anyone that loveth not is not of God. So they're God creation and they're God's sons. What we saw is some of the creation destroy some of God's daughters and sons. And you may say, why God didn't do anything? God waiting for potent people to say, God, I am here. So he have to has a body. That's why God said, repent me the day I made man. God do not control man's decision. It's like for those who have the prophetic anointing, the spirit of prophecy. God don't force you to tell the prophecy when he give it to you to give to somebody. God can give you a word to give me. You can hold on to the word. And then God will find somebody else to give me the word. I'm not a willing vessel. But God give man the free moral choice. Man is a free moral agent. So you have to do with you. God don't force you to serve him. God don't force you to go to his place of worship. God don't force you to say you want to be a bishop, apostle, or whatever. He didn't force Jeremiah. He said before you were formed in your mother womb, I ordained you to be a prophet. But Jeremiah still had the choice to accept the ordination from man. I was ordained to be a leader from my mother womb. I was born out of wedlock. Compiled out of wedlock. I was born and raised without my mother, my father. But I was chosen by God. When the unison came, it could not have changed the fact that I was chosen by God, because I was already vibing with God when I meet my biological mother and father. So do not blame God for your atrocities and your dilemma, and for the wrong people that didn't come and stand up with you and so on. Do not blame God. Do not sever your ties and sever your relationship. I just feel impressed to say this, because if God been in my house, this would happen to me. God want to defend you, but there were no one that God can use want to stand to be mantled to defend you. Simple, that's all. It's like Jonah. God didn't bully Jonah to go to Nineveh. God tell him, Jonah, I want you to go to Nineveh. But he understand the condition of Nineveh. He started his journey willingly, but then he want to go to Tarshish. But going to Tarshish, if you think was safety, is worse than Nineveh. So you have to choose the lesser evil. So what I'm saying is God is blameless. And concluding from the word, let every man, including SGGR, Seon Gregory Gomes Rodney, be a liar, and let God be true. So God didn't do nothing. Don't blame God. God forever love you. He forever care. He forever your defense attorney. He forever your sure foundation. He forever your provider. He's forever your protector. Do not blame God. He's man who failed to rose in your defense in Mocha, Arcadia. He is still at the hem of your faith. With that being said, I love you, but Christ loves you best. Have a great and productive day. Continue to smile. Continue to laugh, for God is forever in your corner. God bless you.